I have written a great deal about my life in private notebooks, thousands and thousands of pages. And so as I thought about what I wanted to share with you, it seemed just like a daunting task to say, what is it that I really want to bring forward? And I came across certain things in my heart that felt very important to share, and that's what I want to do today. So there was a teaching in the necessity and in the beauty of listening, that we're here to partake of each other, but we're here to partake of each other as witness, and we're here to partake of each other in patience, and we're here to partake of each other by paying attention. And so this gift of listening came to me very young, and I didn't even know it was arriving, but apparently it has, because I've spent my life doing a lot of listening. And part of what I would say about that listening is that, in a sense, when I ask myself what my life's work has been, it's really been to help people in some way translate the tragedy of their childhoods into a beautiful and whole life. And that's whether it's in relationships, or whether it's in their work, whether it's in how they can finally be present with themselves. It's always about this transformational work, because I'm sure all of you had a moment in your life when you imagined that your life was really difficult, but the people down the street were doing great. It's like they were normal, and why couldn't you get down there and have the normal life? Or why couldn't you have the normal life that all your classmates in third grade have? That's such a universally held interior assumption that we're so suffering our own suffering, and we can't imagine that all the beautiful people we love are suffering too. And so there's a growing awareness of that is, it's an emotional journey to some extent, but it's really a profoundly spiritual journey in which we become aware that suffering is the nature of our condition. And when we can get beyond the dynamics and the particulars and the blueprints of our own suffering and listen and respond, then we're really operating in the neighborhood of compassion. I would be watching this plant, kind of transfixed on it. It was almost like a meditation, and I would watch it and I would see the structure of it be so elegant and beautiful against the falling light. And then at a certain time, it just all dissolved, and everything about it became crooked and tangled and terrible and awful. And this happened over and over again. And I think it was, I don't want to analyze it. I don't really want to analyze it, but this was my experience. And I probably was 4 years old when I had this experience. And I remember saying to myself, I didn't use the word "this is a teaching," but I remember saying to myself, you are being shown the imperfection of life. And so there was this amazing awareness that I had as a child that things are as they appear to be, and they are also not as they appear to be. They are beautiful, and they are also tragic. They are gorgeous, and they're also mangled. And I actually have never talked about that before. But it was so profound an awareness in my life that, looking at what my life has become, clearly it was an incredible foundational awareness. I guess it's like the Buddha walked out of the palace and all of a sudden everybody was dying and old and sick. And so this was the moment in my life in which I became aware of the profound complexity of life, but the presence of the presence of evil, the presence of darkness, the presence of that which is not beautiful, and which our life journey is a journey to remedy and transform. And this story brings up one of my very favorite words, which is the word chiaroscuro, which is an Italian word, which means the play of the dark and light. You see often in a painting a slash of white next to a piece of darkness, and so somehow dimension is created through the juxtaposition of these colors and absence of color. And that's what this word means. It means the interplay of the dark and light. And that experience was, for me, the beginning of that awareness. And yet, holding that awareness in the midst of my life allowed my life to be very lovely. I had a very lovely childhood. It was filled with beauty. It was filled with all these interesting people that were my family. It was filled with walking around the block on Wednesday and looking through people's trash and seeing if they'd thrown any treasures away. It was made up of dialogues with my sister. My parents were both incredible lovers of flowers and plants, and I feel very blessed that they chose the names of flowers for me. So there was all this beauty, and at the same time there was this awareness. And then there was another event that was profoundly affecting to me as a child. And again, I probably was 4 or 5 when this happened. I don't know how this beautiful young man stepped into my life. Maybe he was a friend of my brother's. I don't know. But one day I found myself sitting on the 3 little steps that went up to our house in Philadelphia, sitting on the lap of this beautiful sailor. I don't know where he came from. I guess he came from the angels. But somehow he held me in his arms and he told me about how he was going to war and how he was afraid a little bit. He was, not going to go there too much. But anyway, we had this amazing dialogue. I guess I was listening more. I don't remember what I said, but I remember hearing what he said. And I remember feeling incredibly close to him. I guess in a way it was kind of my first experience of love, that this beautiful man had arrived in my life. He had revealed himself to me. And he had also acquainted me with the fact that war exists, and the fact that men go to war, and the fact that men go to war and sometimes they don't come back, although he didn't really emphasize that. But it was so powerful that I can almost remember the feel of his arms. I can remember the way the sun was falling across us, and I can remember my heart being opened and changed at that moment.